Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it aqua tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C. This is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everyone doing this morning? Good morning. I'd like to start the show by saying rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. Regardless of what your political views are, it's disturbing and unsettling to watch someone be murdered in front of your eyes. Whatever your political views are. I'm not a big political person, but opinions, this is what this country is supposed to be about, freedom, and whatever your opinions are, regardless of what they are, no one deserves to be murdered like that. His two young children now have to grow up without a father because their dad had an opinion. Again, opinions, that's what makes this country great, is that you can have an opinion and you should be able to voice it without repercussions from other people. And seeing that video was just disturbing, and it really struck me deep. Like I said, I'm not a political guy, you know what I mean? I don't vote, which maybe I should. To be honest, I don't think one's really too much better than the other. I mean, we've had both in office, and I don't see much change in my day-to-day life. So, you know what I mean? But it was really disturbing and sad. It made me, you know what I mean? It was sickening. It was really sickening to watch someone be assassinated right in front of my eyes over words. So, I mean, it was crazy, but sorry to start off like that. I apologize. This is a football podcast. People come here to, vent about football, talk about football, and have a good time. And I'm sorry I'm bringing the mood down. I just had to get that out there. It's bothered me. It's bothered me a lot, even though, like I said, I'm not big in politics. But anyway, how is everyone doing this morning? Good morning. Let's see who's in the building. And make sure you hit them like buttons for me. Let me get me back up in that algorithm. Like I said, I deleted a bunch of videos just because YouTube kind of dicked me around with the monetization thing. I didn't know what I did wrong, so I tried to delete a bunch of videos. It really messed up the algorithm, so I need your help to help me get back into that thing, because my views were way up, and now they've kind of taken a hit. So I need you guys. I know it's a pain in the butt. I hate to ask, but if you guys dig the content, if you guys dig talking to me, and again, I'm not always right. I don't pretend to be a ESPN analyst. You know, I may say something, you're like, Big C, that ain't true. That ain't, and I'll admit it. You know what I mean? I'll admit it. But if you enjoy your time here chatting it up with me, hit that like button for me, please. Michael Lombardo, what up, brother? Sean, what's good? Bonnie, good morning. Miller, what's up? Timothy, what's up? Kat, good morning. Michael K, good morning. Yeah, it's crazy. Shooter's still on the loose. Like, come on. Okay, yeah. So did you see the thumbnail? Could this be Mike McDaniel's final game coaching for the Miami Dolphins? Could this be it? Could this be the last weekend of Mike McDaniel being the head coach of the Miami Dolphins? And I know a lot of people are saying there's no way you can fire him after this week because we have a short weekend in the Buffalo. You can't make a coaching change when you got a short week. And I say bull crap. I say bull crap. I don't care if we had to play the next day. If the Miami Dolphins come out and put up a performance like they did against the Indianapolis Colts at home, Mike McDaniel needs to go immediately. Immediately. Without question, I do not care that we're on a short week heading to Buffalo. Mike McDaniel needs to be fired. Cap says that Tua presser yesterday was awkward. I feel like he was lying through his veneers when asked about the fans and social media. I wonder if Gatorade ever answered back to his DM. Listen, he is. To say that you don't, all you watch is Disney Plus, bro. Come on. Come on. You hear the noise. You hear the noise. Like I said last night on Laces Out Live with my cousin Mike Jones, if Tua is really that naive to the outside world, if Tua doesn't realize he turns the ball over in bunches, if Tua does not realize that, the Miami Dolphins did him a disservice. This franchise did Tua a disservice. Because if he doesn't know his own stats, if he doesn't realize that, if none of the coaches have came to him and been like, hey, Tua, what's going on? You know, you make a mistake here, and then it seems like you come back and you press, and, you know, you end up turning the ball over again and again. The fact that Tua acts like he's blindsided by that is absolutely ridiculous. Is absolutely ridiculous. And to me, that says that he's not being criticized. He's not being coached the correct way. If you're not addressing why, when he turns the ball over, typically he turns the ball over again and again and again, then you're not coaching. You're not fixing the problem. It's like you're scared to hurt his feelings. And you can't, there's no growth. There's no room for growth if that's what you're doing with them. There's no room for growth. How can you grow if you're not realizing you're doing something, if you're doing something wrong? You know what I mean? And then Tua wants to act like he's an idiot. And when asked the question yesterday, you know, one of the reporters asked him, you know, after having a couple days to think about it, did you want to take a step back on your reply to Omar Kelly's question? And he's like, I don't get what you're saying. I don't get what you're saying. I don't go into the game planning on turning the ball over. That's not what the question was. You're a college educated man. You know what the question was. Like, why are you doing that? They had a team meeting, players only. You think the players are telling each other to give up on Greer McDaniels? No, because I think Tua and Mike McDaniel are joined at the hip. I don't think Tua would take part in a conversation downing Mike McDaniel. I don't think I think Tua and Mike McDaniel are like this, and you know what I mean. I don't think that Tua's taking part in that kind of conversation about Mike McDaniel. But let's take a look at Mike McDaniel's time here in Miami. He's got a 28-24 overall record. You know, even that record, yeah, it's over 500. It's over 500. But this team has given him everything and anything he could ask for as far as building a franchise, as far as we've went out and signed the big name free agents. He said he could come in and fix Tua. We went and got him Tyreek Hill. You know, we drafted him the weapons that he wanted, the speed players. He wanted speed, speed, speed. We had the fastest team in the NFL. We've gotten this guy everything and anything he's wanted. Now, did Mike McDaniel want a better offensive line and maybe Chris Greer wasn't on board with it? Who knows? Who knows? But regardless, Mike McDaniel didn't speak out on it. And I listen, I'm not going to take the blame for others. If Chris Greer don't want to spend money on the offensive line and I need better offensive linemen, I'm not going to say that's my decision. But I believe wholeheartedly that Mike McDaniel was so cocky and so confident that he could run this offense with the scrubs that we've had on this offensive line. I think he co-signed it. So he's just as much at fault, in my opinion. So a 28-24 overall career record. Record against teams over 500. 3-14. 3-14. So if we just play bad teams, I mean, we're 25-10. That's a great record, right? 25-10, that's a great record. But again, we don't play just bad teams. I mean, the other guys, I mean, if Tua was part of the, you know what I mean? Tua's going to snitch. Tua's going to snitch on Mike McDaniel. Oh, other news, before we even get more in depth into Mike McDaniel. So, injury report, you got Austin Jackson did not practice. Of course, James Daniels, he's out for weeks. Storm Duck, he's out for weeks. Austin Jackson's probably not going to go, so we're going to probably have Keon Smith and Larry Borum. I don't know. Kendall Lamb should be ready to go. He should know this offense. He was in training camp with the Eagles. Like, why isn't he being thrown in? But anyway, Mike McDaniel was asked about Darren Waller. Darren Waller, you know, the guy that we let Jonnu Smith go for. We went and traded a 6th and a conditional 7th round pick for, that was retired to the New York Giants. When asked about Darren Waller, Mike McDaniel said this: I expect to not know what to expect until later this week, McDaniel said via ESPN. We may get to a point where we realize the risk is too great for the rest of the season and we have to do what's best for the team. What the hell? What the hell? That's crazy. That's crazy. Basically, he's saying that there's a very good chance that the Miami Dolphins move on from Darren Waller. Darren Waller may never play a snap for the Miami Dolphins. Listen, Miller, I think Mike McDaniel sees the writing on the wall. You know what I mean? I think Flight's left Mike McDaniel also. I think he knows it's inevitable that he's going to get fired. By him not challenging that Tyreek Hill catch at the end of the game last week, that shows me a coach that's defeated. That's absolutely defeated. Michael K., I'm not saying Darren Waller would be a game changer, not whatsoever. It's just another mistake this franchise has made. We gave up a productive tight end, and we thought that we had a solution, even though the solution didn't make sense. The solution didn't make sense, but they tried to act like they had a solution, and now their solution's not even going to play. McDaniel's ears, huge glasses. He's blind. It's just they got a banner flying over the game Sunday. I mean, I don't think things like that are helping. You know what I mean? I don't think flying banners saying fire our head coach is going to help. Greer is a journalist from Boston that can you still con some dumb fans? Why wouldn't you quit then? Nobody there wants you around except other. I mean, why? If you quit, you void your, you know, I'm sure it voids his contract. You get fired, I'm sure there's some kind of settlement, right? Right, Miller? You know what I mean? Everything is about money, Miller. Everything's about money. You can tell McDaniel's in panic mode with Tua. Tua ain't helping McDaniel keep his job. Yeah, I mean, he definitely ain't doing that. Right now, this year, so far, and it's only one game. But again, we played the Colts. We didn't play the Ravens. We didn't play the Bills. We didn't play the Eagles. We played the Colts, a team that I had finishing towards the bottom of the AFC South, one of the worst divisions in all of football. We didn't play a great team, and this is where we're ranked so far. Offensively, we're 30th overall. We had 211 yards. 211 yards against a mediocre Colts team. Now, a team that has a $50 to $60 million quarterback, you got a $30 to $35 million receiver, you got a $25 to $30 million receiver on the other side. You got Devon Achane, who is, to me, he's a top 12 back in this league. And you can only muster up 211 yards. Mike McDaniel is supposed to be this offensive genius. And you can only muster 211 yards against the Indianapolis Colts. One touchdown, 29th in passing overall, 133 yards passing. With Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you could only muster 133 yards passing. A joke. Rushing, we had 78 yards. That's 21st best in the NFL. And to be fair, we had two 2 longer runs in garbage time. I think we had a 15 and a 26 yarder. What's that? 41 of the 78. You take that away, we're probably dead last. Probably dead last because we ran the ball 11 times total. We ran the ball 11 times total. So you take away those 2 long runs in garbage time, we're probably dead last in rushing. Michael, I don't want to ruin Quinn Ewers, though. If you throw Quinn out there before he's ready, and I don't think he's ready, you could damage him. We've seen plenty of quarterbacks get damaged being thrown to the Wolves too early. That's why I said it's not a good idea with the Giants to go with Jackson Dart yet. Because the New York Giants got a tough stretch. Their next 5 games are brutal. And I don't think it's a good idea to throw Jackson Dart out there because, if you're getting hit and you start seeing them ghosts and, it can really damage a young quarterback's psyche. Yeah, this is my channel's. It's my first whole season. Yeah. With this O line that we have, with the coaching that we got right now, no quarterback's going to succeed. Now, maybe Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson can make shit happen. But as far as that, even above average, a good quarterback, they're going to struggle behind this offensive line too. And let's not, listen, Tua and Mike McDaniel are not the only issues. Tua and Mike McDaniel are not the only issues. What about Anthony Weaver? He does not escape criticism in my book. When you guys think you're going to trade Tyreek Hill, what week? I would probably say after Buffalo, maybe week 4, week 5. Depends when they get the offer they're looking for. They might have to hold on to him a little bit longer just to get a better offer. I don't think next week because teams aren't in panic mode yet. Teams aren't in panic mode. You let the Chiefs lose 3 or 4 more games, which there's a good chance the Chiefs could go 0-5. There's a great chance the Chiefs start out 0-5. If the Chiefs go 1-4, 0-5, the Kansas City Chiefs may be willing to give up an arm and a leg for Tyreek Hill. But Anthony Weaver is not without criticism. So please do not, because Tua is the low-hanging fruit, and we've had people have had problems with Tua for a long time. And Tua is a major problem for this football team. Let's not forget, this defense is ranked 29th in the league. 418 yards, given up 3 touchdowns to Daniel Jones. They're ranked 25th in passing, 262 yards and a touchdown to Daniel Jones. And 27th in rushing defense with 156 yards given up and 2 touchdowns. This was a poor performance all around. All around. Listen, Miller, I think Tyreek Hill can still be absolutely phenomenal. Yet you're going based on what he's doing for the Dolphins. The Dolphins are misusing. We're not taking any deep shots. None. This isn't a Tyreek issue. This is a Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa offensive line issue. This is not Tyreek's decline. Why waste more time with Greer? 10 years is not enough. Listen, they should have been fired after last year. They should have been fired after last year. We should have never went into the season with them as our head coach and our general manager. To be honest, we should have let them go when Jim Harbaugh became available. Because Jim Harbaugh was the answer to the coaching search. Jim Harbaugh is a good coach, and there's no way we should have let him go anywhere but to the Miami Dolphins. Working man, Tua can get it deep enough to Tyreek. I mean, we've seen it. Again, Tua's got enough things that you can criticize, and does he have the strongest arm? No, he doesn't. But there's enough things to criticize about Tua than to, add on to the narratives. He can get the ball deep enough. We've seen him throw 40, 50, 60 yards. Can he do it without winding up and putting his whole body into it? No. He can't just flick his wrist and chuck it 40, 50 yards. But, I mean, he can get the ball downfield. The quarterbacks you mentioned would do good with this O-line because they can run. But a Tom Brady, for example, even he couldn't function with this pressure. Defense and O-line are the biggest issues for this team. Again, you're not lying, Planet Killer. You're not lying. You're absolutely not lying. And I've been saying it for years that, this offensive line has been bad for a long time. 2023, we had a good offensive line. They just couldn't stay healthy. And look how much success we had. Look how much success we had in 2023 when the offensive line was good. And then as soon as those guys got hurt, we did a nosedive. We did a complete nosedive as soon as those guys got hurt. But when they were healthy, we had number one offense in all of football. Scored 70 points on the Denver Broncos. And then they started going down one right after another. As soon as we get Greer McDaniel out there, we can get a new GM, head coach, go draft their own quarterback and go draft big physical players. Yeah, but you got to find the right coach. And, if you don't find the right coach, there's another 3-4 years wasted. Jim Harbaugh was the right coach. Jim Harbaugh was that coach. It's a classic Dolphin performance. We let Brock Purdy debut on us. Trevor Lawrence looked good. Will Levis looked good. Zach Wilson looked good. And now Daniel Jones. We always let mediocre rookie quarterbacks look good. This team wasn't built correctly. Why? Because they chose Tua over Flores. Who's they? Listen, Tua over Flores. I don't think Brian Flores was the right coach while he was here. You know what I mean? The whole thing with Brian Flores, you were trying to go get Sean Payton, Tom Brady. Brian Flores is a fantastic defensive coach. Fantastic defensive coach. But I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Brian Flores' next job, if he ever gets another opportunity to be a head coach, which I'm sure he will, we'll have to see how that turns out. Again, just because you're a great defensive coordinator doesn't make you a great head coach. I mean, look how many coordinators we've seen from the Patriots. They've been absolutely phenomenal coordinators, but when they go to get a head coaching job, they absolutely suck. And I know Flores is one of those. Brian Flores wanted to bring Deshaun Watson here. Yeah, see, just because grass isn't always greener. Again, if Brian Flores got his way, Deshaun Watson would have been here. So would we have really been in a better position? No, no. I'd take Tua over Deshaun Watson. Watson's missed more time and he has sexually assaulted people. You know what I mean? I mean, your Bonnie, if Brian Flores would have did the right thing, and listen, you can say, I mean, this is controversial. What's the right thing? You know what I mean? They asked Brian Flores the tank. I think you do anything for this team to get on top. You know what I mean? People do underhanded stuff all the time. Look at the Patriots. They don't take the Patriots Super Bowl titles back. They asked you to not go out there and necessarily try to win games so we could get Joe Burrow. And Brian Flores refused to do it. Antonio Pierce would have been a good option for head coach, in my opinion. I mean, the Raiders didn't even pick Antonio Pierce, though. Need a hard-ass coach. I don't know if that works this day and age. These players are coming into the league millionaires already. I don't know if a hard-ass coach is going to work anymore. Whose idea was it to start Tua prematurely over Fitzpatrick? I mean, I'm probably listen. Chris Greer and Stephen Ross were probably putting pressure on Flores to start Tua early. What do you think about Bieniemy? He didn't get a fair shake at Commanders because they had that one owner. Again, I think he's another brilliant offensive mind, but just because you're a great offensive coordinator doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a great head coach. And again, how much was Eric Bieniemy's success due to Andy Reid? How much of his success was due to Patrick Mahomes? You know what I mean? It's pretty easy to look good when you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Andy Reid as your head coach. You know what I mean? Of course you're going to look fantastic. So how good of a coordinator really is he? Imagine if you did tank that season, you could have had a different quarterback that was elite. You're right. You're right, Philly. You're right. This whole team could have been different. You could have possibly had Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. And would have never had to give up the draft pick for Tyreek Hill. Because if you draft Jamar Chase, you don't have to trade for Tyreek Hill. I like Sellers, Timothy. I like him a lot. But again, it's early. It's super early. You can't go too early because, listen, at the beginning of last year's college season, Quinn Ewers was one of the top quarterbacks. And look at by the end of the season, he fell to the 7th round. So again, I think the Miami Dolphins absolutely could move off of Mike McDaniel after this week if we perform the way we did week 2 or week 1 against the Colts. Now, I'm confused. And maybe someone here can help me. Tua came into the league 2022, right? Or no, not 22. Mike McDaniel came here 2022, right? I seen in Tua's press conference that he said that he's never beat Mike Vrabel, that they've never beat Mike Vrabel. But, and now I'm looking dumb because no, that's not it. Not it. Damn it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, let me see. Sorry, I'm just trying to look something up real quick because I'm super confused on it. Let's see. Okay. I must have the picture in my phone still. I could have swore it said 2022, the Dolphins beat Mike Vrabel. I could have swore it said 2022, the Dolphins beat Mike Vrabel. Let's see. Don't. Oh, dang it. All right, here it is. All right, yeah, that's my mistake. The last, you're right. So Mike Vrabel is 2-0 against the Dolphins. The last win was 2018. That was my fault. I mean, there's been so many, you know what I mean? Charles Harris over TJ Watt. You know what I mean? Just so many bad choices. So many bad choices. Sooner the better. Fire them all. Look how many mid to bust they have in the NFL. Like Jacksonville, completely mid quarterback. Anybody who acting like he was going to be the next Peyton Manning. At least he came into the NFL healthy. You know what I mean? At least he came into the NFL healthy. He had prototypical size, strength. You know what I mean? That's another thing. The owner of this football team wanted to draft Lamar Jackson. And Chris Greer. He let Chris Greer strong arm him into taking Fitzpatrick over Lamar Jackson. Stephen Ross was in the draft room like, let's take Lamar. And Chris Greer was like, no, I want Fitzpatrick. And Stephen Ross was like, no, I think we should take Lamar. And he was like, listen, if we take Lamar, you know what I mean? He's like, I'm the general manager of this team. And he strong armed Chris Greer or Stephen Ross. My fault. Jesus. But other, so Mike McDaniel's 28-24 on his record, 3-14 against teams over 500. Absolutely horrible. Mike McDaniel has had 19 challenges in his career, only been successful on 4. Has one of the worst records as far as challenges go in all of football. Tyreek makes a catch on the sideline last week. You have nothing to lose by challenging this play, yet you don't challenge it. What is wrong with him? Other things that go against Mike McDaniel. You went to the front office and fought for Tua Tagovailoa to get a 4-year, $212 million contract. What up, Shake? What up? Good morning, brother. You fought for Tua instead of getting Tua to play for that 5th-year option. You have Tua's ear. Tua has loyalty to you. You could have got Tua to play that 5th-year option. Instead, you went to Stephen Ross over Chris Greer's head and fought for Tua to get a 4-year, $212 million deal that is going to absolutely handicap this football team. Tua has missed 11 games since Mike McDaniel's been here. He's missed 11 games. In those games, Mike McDaniel fails to make adjustments. Like, if things don't go right for Mike McDaniel right off Jump Street, Mike McDaniel doesn't know how to handle that. He doesn't know how to handle it. He never makes the adjustments needed. How often do you see this guy, come out and his game plan's not working, and you go into halftime, you come out from halftime, and he completely switches it up? How often have you seen that? He fails to make the adjustments needed. Now, Tua missing 11 games. This offense is built for Tua. But when we had to have Skylar Thompson come in, Tyler Huntley come in, he's such an offensive genius, but doesn't change the game plan up. He's still shooting these guys out there who don't have the same skill set as Tua Tagovailoa and expect them to run the offense like Tua. No, you got to change things up. The guy is so super smart all the time, but in his press conferences, always trying to be the smartest guy in the room, right? Always trying to be the smartest guy in the room, always trying to make you think and ponder over the simplest. He could reply to a question so simply, but he sits there and shoot you a bunch of mumbo jumbo that you got to dissect under a microscope to understand what he's trying to tell you. Tua missed how many games last year? 6. Tua missed 6 games last year, right? Tyler Huntley came in. Skylar Thompson came in. They did not change the offense up whatsoever. This offense is built for Tua. When Tua did not play last year, the offensive genius with Tyreek Hill on the field, with Jalen Waddle on the field, with Devon Achane on the field, with Jonnu Smith on the field. This offense, when Tua was out, averaged 13.3 points per game. 13.3 points per game. You couldn't change this offense up and have more success than that, especially with the group of skill players that you had. 13.3 points per game. The league average last year was 22.9. And in 6 games last year, when Tua missed time, we could only muster 13.3 points per game. That is ridiculous. It's atrocious. It's disgusting. $13.3 points per game from an offense that has Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, Devon Achan, Raheem Mostert, Odell Beckham. Market is the market. That's the biggest load, Stainless. That's the biggest load. I've been so against that train of thought. The fact that he said that. When did this become the norm that just because a quarterback, this is the way it goes. Either your quarterback comes up for a new contract, either you're going to let him hit the open market or you got to pay him top 5 money. When did that become a thing? Now, let's say I like Tua as a quarterback and I wanted to keep him. I don't want him to hit free agency, but I don't think you're a top 5 quarterback, which Tua's not. Why do I got to pay you top 5 money to keep you? Why? And if I was negotiating with these guys and with their agents, I'd say, okay, you want this much money, right? Are you better than Patrick Mahomes? No. Are you better than Lamar Jackson? No. Are you better than Josh Allen? No. I'm not giving you more money than that. Bonnie, I'm not blaming Tua for trying to get as much money as he possibly can. That's what a player's supposed to do. You know what I mean? That's what a player's supposed to do. You're supposed to get every cent you can possibly get. But in the end, you realize that what you're really worth and you sign for what you signed for. The last 15 years, unless your quarterback is ass and not obviously in the top 15 in that position, same reason you got to pay people like that. Top 10s, top 13 passers position most money in the NFL. I mean, it's a joke, and that's why teams, that's why teams like Lamar's, the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, that's why they'll continue to be Super Bowl frontrunners, because every other team's paying mediocre quarterbacks like franchise quarterbacks, like elite quarterbacks. So those teams got the heads up on everybody else. They got the advantage. You're paying Tua like Lamar Jackson. Of course, the Ravens are gonna be the better team because they had the same amount of money to surround themselves with talent. But Lamar Jackson is clearly far and away the better player. Again, I can see this game going 2 ways Sunday. And this is facts. I can see this Miami Dolphins team coming out and playing just as poorly as they did Sunday to the Colts. And the reason I say that I can see that is if the problems are really as deep as what I think they are. If this team is truly given up on Mike McDaniel, if this team has really got no faith in Tua Tagovailoa, they're going to play the same way they played Sunday. Or hear me out, Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel are going to give us fans this false sense of hope, because there's just a good a chance that Tua comes out and throws 3 or 4 touchdowns, 280 yards, beats up on the Pats, and the Miami Dolphins look fantastic, because that's what this team does. It gives us that hopium. It gives us hopium. like I said, I've supported Tua over and over again because he's shown me glimpses of being a top 10 quarterback. He's shown me glimpses. I've seen it. I've seen him play like a top 10 quarterback where he's deadly accurate, putting the ball right on the money, slinging it all over the field and making this offense run beautifully. But there's far and away too many times where he plays like he did Sunday. There's far too many times where he's unavailable for us that's why this can't work. Now we're home this week, so I expect us to look better because we're home. And again, I could see Tua having 3-4 touchdowns. I could see us beating up on a weak Patriots team. Philly, I mean, to be honest, I think our front seven plays way better than they did last week, unless they've given up on the coach. Because we have talent. We have talent up front. I don't know what the problem was against the Colts, but we have talent up front. Yeah, we're going to struggle in the secondary, but if we can get pressure on Drake May, they don't have a lot of offensive weapons on that side of the ball. We could perform a lot better. But Bonnie, it's against poor competition. Like, I want to cheer for Tua, I do, but the numbers are on the wall. He's played good more than he's played bad, but it's against poor competition. They've played far more bad teams than good. Again, Mike McDaniel's 28-24 in his career, but 3-14 against good teams. Big C, if we have a fire sale, what are the players that you want to keep? Jordan Phillips, Kenneth Grant, Jonah. God, I'm having a brain fart right now. Our left tackle. Ali Gordon. Chop Robinson. HN. Malik Washington. Everybody else can go. Patrick Ball. There you go, brother. Thank you. Everybody else can go, in my opinion. It's that, Bonnie, listen, I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, but like, I can only let him do it to me so many times. You know what I mean? And again, Tua will continue to give you glimpses. He'll continue to give you glimpses, and there will be days that he goes out there and looks like he can be an elite quarterback, top 10 quarterback. But when push comes to shove, his mental toughness isn't there. And, you know, I think a lot of it is because he's not being coached properly. I don't think they're coaching him properly. I don't think they're criticizing him properly because he has a weak, he's weak mentally. He's weak and he can't handle it. It's just not there. So it's time to move on. So again, I can see if this team's really given up on Mike McDaniel, we can absolutely lose this weekend, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mike McDaniel's fired this weekend, or they'll stretch it out past Buffalo, and then Buffalo will beat the brakes off us more than likely. And I find it hard to believe that Stephen Ross keeps them past Buffalo. If we come back from Buffalo 1-2, then I don't see him keeping them past Buffalo. But yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got. I'll be in Buffalo in less than a week. That's crazy. My wife was telling me yesterday. She's like, "You go on your trip next week?" I said, "What?" I was like, "Oh shoot!" I was like, "I didn't even realize like that came up on me quick. Anybody want to buy a ticket to the Bills and Dolphins? That's it. I don't care to see a massacre in public, in person. But please make sure you hit that like button for me. Help me get back in that algorithm. And absolutely, Timothy. Absolutely. But make sure you hit that like button for me, please, if you enjoy the content. If not, don't hit it. I know it's a pain in the butt. I hate to ask, but again, after I deleted all those videos, it really messed up my algorithm. So if you could help me out. But I will see you tomorrow. I got to work, so I will. I mean, I'm always going to rep the team. I'm always going to rep this team. They're still my squad. You know what I mean? But I will see you all Saturday. Well, Friday night with me and Mike Jones. Come over and check us out on Laces Out Live. Do our pick'em show Friday night. And I'll see you here on the Fin Posse Saturday. Until then, fins up. Peace. Hit that like button.
Yo. Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Movino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep. Call it football nirvana. Big C break it down. Got the stats in his veins. Play by play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field. Opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed. Leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle. Defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean. Whole squash the champ. Tune in. Big C. Got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast. It's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse, we the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.